Welcome back to Dark Sky Expeditions. This video marks the official release of Episode 3. Join us into the far unknown reaches of the Great American Southwest, where we attempt 50 miles on foot through the barren voids of the Tule Valley in central Utah. Stick around for the great adventure, captivating landscapes, and the enormous effort of the Salt Flat 50. This video, I want to provide you a little bit of background about the project. So in episode 1, we hiked 22 miles in 11 hours in Grand Gulch, Utah. In episode 2, we hiked 25 miles in 16 hours in Apache Kid Wilderness, in some of the most rugged terrain I've ever encountered. It was super tough. So Ray Smith had the thought, how far could we walk in an easy terrain? Ray's idea was, could we walk 50 miles under 24 hours? I took a spin on that idea and thought, well, if we had a really easy path, we could probably do it. And that's how we came up with the idea of the Bonneville Salt Flats. Probably the easiest, most flat, unencumbered terrain anywhere in North America. Now, we opted not to do the Bonneville Salt Flats proper because we were worried there might be too much traffic, too much tourism, and we thought it would be better if we got a little off the beaten path. That's how we landed on the Tule Valley in central Utah, just south of the Bonneville Salt Flats proper. So the idea was we would drive the truck out onto the salt flat, 50 miles and walk back. Now in driving out to our starting point, we would drop 10 buckets spaced 5 miles apart, each carrying 2 gallons of water and ample calories. In the description below, I've posted a video where I go over what I carried on my person for the hike and what I packed as far as calories for the hike. So that was the overall plan, that was the idea, so let's get right into it. What is that?
Meatloaf.
Sick brick of protein mass. We are just trying to get out of Farmington. This is always the hardest battle of every expedition, is just getting out of town. It just seems to be a kind of a big task. We are just outside of Monticello, about 300 miles-ish to base camp, probably 5 more hours driving in Utah. Been dodging hail and rain most of the trip. Pretty much stopped when we got out of Colorado. Driving from Farmington to our base camp in the Tule Valley is a pretty long haul, spanning some 8.5 hours. But the time passed fairly smooth, as the entire drive is marked with awesome terrain, deserts, high alpine, snow-capped peaks, and even some lakes. Pulling into base camp at night under a dark sky with no moon, it was impossible to get a sense of where we landed. Until the following morning, we finally got our first look at the terrain we had been scanning on satellite imagery the previous 2 weeks.
Good morning.
Morning.
Beautiful spot you picked.
We found the salt. All right, it's Friday morning. You know what time it is? You don't.
No.
It's 8:31 in the morning. Came in last night around 10, went to bed around midnight. We drove in, the road was really rocky and dusty, and we were kind of disappointed because we thought this was going to be just flat salt. But we woke up this morning to a nice bed of salt in the distance. We're looking at the southernmost extent. The 50-mile trail is going to end somewhere out there. But not a cloud in the sky, no wind. Pretty nice weather and pretty cool terrain. Preparing your feet for a long trek is probably one of the most important aspects in preparing next to water. If we blister 10-20 miles in, there is no way we can complete this journey. Foot powder, Desitin cream, toe socks, smart wool socks, good shoes, and gaiters to keep rocks, sand, and brush out of the shoes.
Is that right?
And that hook right there goes up
Okay.
under some places.
Just like that.
All right, folks, as promised, I'm gonna run the Trail 125 little recon boy right here, and I'm gonna run to the very end of the hike, and I'm gonna drop bucket lucky number 9, the final bucket. Riding the Honda Trail 125 across this flat lake bottom is probably one of the funnest things you can do. Whipping around on soft, flat surface in any direction is pretty liberating. Bucket number 8, drop it like it's hot. Bucket number 7. I think we're like right on top of that bush. Bucket 6.
Hat, gold bond.
Hopefully no one steals it. Right? Bucket 5.
Bucket 5. But hey, I do have a something for you here.
Awesome. Now we're in Saudi Arabia. While dropping off buckets in the truck, we pushed as far as we could to reach 50 miles from base camp. At mile 40, we arrived to a choke point in the northernmost extent of the valley. This is where we would leave the truck and attempt to make up the mileage on the trek back to base camp.
I've never felt more ready for anything in my life. Physically and mentally prepared to go 50 miles.
This is it. This is what we came for. And it starts right here.
First 5 miles. Feeling good.
All right. We're mile 6 or 7.
6.28.
So we're about to enter this super barren portion of the hike. This is where it gets really cool. There's just this ground, right? Tracks from the truck in. Yeah, this is what we came for.
Yep.
Right here. That pretty cool or what?
Smile on my face.
This marked my favorite part of the trek. An absolute abyss of landscape in 360 degrees. Nothing of human origin as far as the eye can see, inspiring a true sense of absolute adventure and accomplishment, only relying on ourselves to traverse this expanse of earth. Oh boy. What do we got? Water, of course. We got a banana and an apple. Some Cheetos. Ooh, what do we got here? Corn nuts. Oh, a keto brick that's just molten gel. Probably eat one of those. All right, mile 10. 1/5 of the way through. We're doing good. It's beautiful. It's lovely. I'm finding it kind of hard to stay hydrated. I've been pounding Scratch, hashtag Scratch Labs hydration. I've been hitting Scratch servings like a fiend and just pounding as much water as I can in these buckets. 2 gallons in every bucket every 5 miles. So I'm gonna pound as much as I can with some of that Scratch Labs powder. Douse my head in some water. Put my feet up for a couple minutes outside of my shoes. And we'll keep her going. Sun is getting a little lower in the sky, which is really nice. This ground really seems to radiate heat and light. Even with gloves and everything covered up, even just a small portion of your face exposed really seems to you feel it. Just feel that radiation. But pretty cool. We're in the very bottom of the Tule Basin in these really cool carbonate uplifts to the east. Possibly some volcanics out there to the west. The edge of the whatever this is, not quite salt, but anhydrous siliceous mudstone, flanked by these kind of light tan sand dunes with some grasses, not grasses, bushes kind of growing in it. It's almost like a clay. Let me give you a sense of how remote this really is. See what's around us in 360 degrees. There's really nothing out here. Hiking south along the axis of the lake bottom near mile 12, we came to the last leg of the true salt flat portion of the hike. The flat, wide, open expanse of earth felt like walking on an alien planet. An experience that reminds you that we are in fact living on a planet. A wild, untamed hunk of rock with no agenda, rules, or opinion whatsoever, tumbling through space. A special vibe and state of mind as the sun began to hang low in the western sky. tuning in. Shadows are starting to stretch, getting kind of long, late in the evening. Yeah, we are looking forward to shedding some layers, some glasses, some balaclavas, some hats, gloves. Some Chef Boyardee, sounding good.
Some more jerky.
Gravy train, right here. Here, exiting the salt flat and beginning a slight elevation gain near mile 17, I started to feel the first wave of fatigue, which comes and goes in waves, followed by the second, third, and fourth wind. Clothing, jacket, goodie bucket.
Yeah, we made it.
We're doing it, man. This hit the spot. Next time I'm doubling up on Chef Boyardee. These little babies are the best. These are good. This is it, the golden hour. 30 more minutes. The departing sun marked a whole new phase for the journey, as this night was a new moon. Absolute darkness, only stars in the Milky Way. After food and water at the bucket near mile 20, the sky opened up into a stunning cosmic display of vivid planets, stars, and distant dust of the Milky Way. We crossed a lonely desert highway on the trek back. Just as we were about to cross, a single motorcycle rider passed at 3 o'clock in the morning. With her eyes adjusted only to the new moon sky, the headlamp of the motorcycle rider seemed like an alien spaceship igniting the whole stretch of pavement. At mile 20, I started to feel a tightening in my right calf. The pain seemed to slowly get worse up to mile 30. My leg was swollen and tender to the touch. The option was to keep pushing on to base camp or sleep under a bush in the sand. At this point, we had some 8 miles back to base camp, and based on the condition of my leg, we opted to make the shortest distance back to base camp, surrender ourselves to the situation, and forego the 50-mile mark for the time being. We stumbled into camp at 4:30 in the morning, completing 38 miles. Not quite our intended 50 miles, but good enough for the circumstances. We took 3 ibuprofen, 2 shots of whiskey, and slept the deepest 2 hours of my life. No one stole the motorcycle. No one stole the camper, the tent.
Average pace, 24 minutes, 14 seconds.
How do you feel?
I feel good. I'm glad to be back at camp, but
Yes.
I feel great. Yesterday, took 65,000 steps. But that was just up to until midnight.
Oh, but because you died?
No, I didn't die. It just like at midnight, right? It rolls over.
Oh, okay.
So 65,000 steps last night, and then 26,000 steps this morning.
Yeah. What time is it? When we came in last night, it was 4:30?
It was like 4:20.
4:20 in the morning. How many miles? 38?
38.
38. 38.2 miles. 15 hours. That was tough. Rolled in kind of rough shape. Some kind of strain in my calf. Feels a little better this morning. Slipped a couple hours and it helped kind of reset, because part 3 of this whole mission is getting on the mini bike and without issue driving all the way back to get the truck, loading it into the truck, driving the truck back, collecting all of these buckets, and then loading up here, and then hitting the road. Again, driving the Honda Mini Moto 125 on these back roads through the BLM is one of the funnest things you can do. It felt like I was moving at lightning speed after walking this route on foot. The 125 tops out between 40 and 50 miles an hour, but on the gravel roads, that is more than enough to get where you need to go. Bringing this small, lightweight motorcycle is the perfect shuttle vehicle to get back to the truck. After loading the bike, loading the buckets, I met Ray back at base camp and prepared for the journey home. Mostly occupying our time discussing the logistics of what will be the 50-mile redemption expedition. Looking forward to that this fall. That's right, we are not hanging up the idea until the milestone is reached. For now, thanks for tuning in. Follow Dark Sky Expeditions here on YouTube and Instagram for more content and sneak peeks and what's to come on Dark Sky.